Is it just me, or does this one look like a skittle?
Just you.
No, it does. Look at it.
Philistine.
I'm really not. I happen to be extremely cultured. Did you hear me when I said I have an MA in English literature?
Which apparently did nothing for your appreciation of visual art.
Apparently not.
Any minute now you'd be telling me you don't get it.
I'm not sure I do.
Then don't try. Just look at them and see what happens. It's art, it's not supposed to be a logic puzzle.
Okay.
And don't just stand there to look at it, you have to move around it. It's a three-dimensional sculpture, not a painting. You need to engage with all aspects of it. What?
When you first told me you're a teacher, I couldn't believe it, and now I'm wondering how I could have missed it.
Meaning?
The arrogance, the air of superiority, the I know better than you do attitude.
Thank you.
I was joking. She didn't have much imagination when it came to naming her sculptures, did she?
What do you mean?
Well, this one's called Cone and Sphere, and this one, Two Forms with White.
Well, she was a visual artist. Words weren't supposed to be her strong point.
I suppose. I've got to say, I'm surprised. I didn't think you'd be into stuff like this.
A lot's changed since you left.
Yeah.
I did a photography course when a year out didn't seem like such an attractive prospect.
Right.
And that got me interested in shapes. And my portfolio was inspired by like abstract shapes and how they relate to our environment.
And so that led on to being an art geek.
No, it meant when this place opened, I was interested because I'd looked at Airpuff's work when I was on the course and how she focused on figures and their relationship to the landscape, and that inspired an abstract response in her. And when I realised that this place would be full of her sculptures, I wanted to see them.
So who did you bring?
Why?
No reason. I was just thinking it's such a big event.
I'm not that into it. It wasn't a big event.
But you'd have wanted to share it with someone.
Not really. Came on my own the first time.
Right.
To be honest, I just enjoyed being able to take everything in without having to talk to anyone about it. I mean, have you noticed that when you first come up the stairs and then suddenly it just opens out into this huge white space? I like the openness of it.
I didn't think of it like that, but I knew that I liked it straight away. It feels peaceful and measured, like it knows what it's about, and so that makes it feel safe.
It does.
So on your own the first time, and then...
Oh, the second time I wrote my class.
That was brave.
Why?
Did they not just want to crawl all over these? If I wasn't someone old enough to know better, I'd definitely want to touch them.
They might have done, but of course, my word is law, and I told them not to, so they wouldn't dare.
I see.
No, they were brilliant, actually. Some of them were left cold, inevitably said they didn't get it. But we did a workshop with one of the artists here, and some of them, the ones that were open enough to just accept it, absorb it, they loved it. It's magic. You see their faces light up. Some of them were really inspired. And the most amazing thing is that places like this and the experiences like the ones that people get here, they make a difference to the hardest to reach kids, the ones who struggle with the demands of day-to-day education. You bring them here and suddenly they're engaged. Suddenly they feel like an equal and not a second-class citizen anymore. Honestly, it's wonderful.
You care a lot about them, don't you?
They're all right.
No, I can tell they mean the world to you.
But don't imagine for a second it's all education at its finest in my classroom. Half the time it's a war zone.
But still, I bet they love you.
I think you have a twisted view of how much sentimentality plays a part in our primary education. Have you ever listened to the ravings of Minister Gove?
You're not a fan?
I think you'd struggle to find a teacher who is, especially one like me.
Like you?
That places a value in the arts.
But still, I think your classroom would be one of the happiest places for a child to be.
On what grounds?
Well, just you are who you are.
Flattering as your confidence is in me, you have nothing to base it on.
I like to believe in ideals.
I'd forgotten just how much.
I mean it.
Am I keeping you from something?
What?
I was just wondering if there's somewhere you should be with you checking your phone.
Oh, no, force of habit, I suppose. Sorry.
Right.
You okay?
Yeah, fine.
You're irritated. I've said I'm sorry.
It's just after all this time, I mean, it'd be nice if you had the courtesy to concentrate on this.
I've said I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it gets to me. People always checking their phone. It's like the company that they're in isn't good enough. Like they're always looking for a better offer.
That wasn't why I checked.
You don't need to explain.
No, it's important that you know I wasn't just being ignorant. It's just Mum and Dad worry when I'm away.
But you're 23.
But still, they worry. I was just checking they hadn't called, because if they'd called and I hadn't answered... So which is your favourite sculpture then?
Out of these?
Yeah. As you seem to be the expert in all things sculpture, give me the benefit of your educated eye.
So you're making fun of me?
A bit, but in a nice way.
Oh, that's okay then.
So go on.
Okay, I'll play your silly little game.
Thank you so much for humouring me.
I like that one.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
Spring.
Yep.
I'm going to guess why.
Really?
Yep.
I could just tell you.
No. Where's the fun in that? I think...
It's because...
No, let me, Jed. It's because the strings represent all the connections between the individuals in the world. So this sculpture is a profound statement on community in all its forms. Am I right?
No.
I get points for sounding arty and intelligent, though, yeah? Go on then, you tell me.
I like the colour.
That's it.
Yeah.
You like the colour.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than that.
Has it?
I don't believe you.
What's wrong with liking the colour?
Nothing. I was just expecting something a bit more insightful.
I do like the colour. I think it's peaceful and pleasing. It has a tonal aspect that my eye enjoys. And if you push me, I might say something about, finding it comforting. And that I like the idea that no matter how profound the gap, the space, that there's always something that can bridge it. There's always a connection. And that makes me feel like there's an antidote to apartness, isolation, and it's... What? What are you smiling at?
I've just remembered that you used to tell me bedtime stories.
Doesn't sound like something I'd do.
You did. You used to make them up for me. Please tell me you remember. Don't tell me you don't remember, Jed.
Yes, I remember. You'd ring me up and I'd tell you stories till you fell asleep.
To stop me getting nightmares.
Yes.
It was only when you weren't there anymore that I realised all the things you did for me. So much was missing. Things that I didn't even realise were there when I had them.
What can I say? I'm indispensable.
I had to explain things to people that you just knew, like how I will have no sugar if there isn't brown sugar, and that I like all my food separated and I can't eat it if it gets mixed up, and that I get freaked out if I don't know the time.
I'd have thought they were the more handleable ones. Is it not harder to explain to people why you carry a toothbrush with you everywhere, and that you have an appalling tasting music that you'll dance really, really badly to, and that you'll constantly talk to yourself if you don't think anyone's around?
Feel better to have got that off your chest?
A bit.
Yeah, it was hard to live with all those gaps.
but you managed.
What do you mean?
Well, you went a whole half a decade without any contact whatsoever, so it can't have been that bad.
You're not going to forgive me for that, are you?
It's not a case of forgiving you. You made your choice. It was your choice to make, and arguably it's turned out to be the making of me, so perhaps I should be grateful.
Was it the same for you?
What?
Were there gaps?
Maisie, I came home from holiday and my best friend had disappeared. And nobody knew where or why she had gone. There was a for sale sign outside her house and none of her numbers worked. And she didn't bother to get in touch with me to let me know if she was okay or if she's even alive. It took me a year before I stopped waiting for some sort of contact. No, Maisie, there wasn't gaps. There was a huge gaping hole in my life that almost swallowed me up entirely. So in order to survive, I stopped thinking about you. And that was working really well until 6 weeks ago when you messaged me.
Where are you going?
Just to the next gallery. We're not going to get a chance to see it all at this rate.
Jed,